In this video, we're going to draw an isometric pictorial of the object shown. This object is actually a three-dimensional object, and I can show you by rotating it. So an isometric pictorial is a two-dimensional object that looks three-dimensional. So we're going to start by opening up the set inch template and saving it as ISO pictorial tutorial. All right, so AutoCAD makes it easy to create isometric pictorials by creating a grid that goes along a 30-degree angle. So let's start by activating a grid, and we're going to make it 10 millimeters. And you'll notice that the grid at the moment is just vertical and horizontal. So what we have to do to change that is activate the snap. So we're going to do snap, and we're going to change the style from standard to isometric. So I'll type I for isometric. And the snap setting, let's do 5 instead of 10. And now you can see the grid has shifted to this 30-degree angle, which makes it easier to draw isometric pictorials, which angle at 30 degrees. You'll also notice that the cursor has changed as well. It has angled with that 30 degree. Let's also help ourselves along by doing some polar tracking, and let's change the polar ang, or the polar angle, to 30 degrees. All right, the first thing that we want to do is to get into our construction layer to make our defining box. All right, so we're going to click on line, and you'll notice that the cursors are snapping. So we want to, well, let's start somewhere right here, make a box that encloses the entire object. So if you look at the dimensions of the object, we want to, let's put on our polar tracking. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing the values. We want to go out 50 because it's 50 millimeters long at an angle of 30. So we'll do that. And we're going to go up 30 and over 40. And then just continue to build that box. And I'll zoom all. Oh, actually, I'll zoom in. All right, so you can see our defining box. So the whole object is going to fit inside that box. And we can start adding features. So in the visible layer, we're going to start adding features that are parallel to the sides of that box and features that we know the dimension of. So the trick for isometric pictorials and pictorials of any kind is to start with features you know that are parallel to the defining box, and then the other features will kind of fall into place. All right, so we're going to start filling in the sides that we know. So we know that that side and this side takes the full amount of the defining box. And then we know that we have a back edge here that goes 25 out. So we'll do that. And we know we have a front edge here that goes 10 out. And that line comes down all the way to the bottom. And then we have a line coming off of the end of the 25 that goes this way 20. So you just kind of pick off lines that you know. And then we have a line that's parallel here that meets up with this one. And we have a line that comes down 10 here. And a line that comes up by 10 here. Alright, so those are all the straight lines that are parallel to the sides of the box. So those are the easy ones. Alright, now that we have some of the lines that are parallel and we know the dimensions of, we can add some of the ones that are at an angle. So we know that there's a line that meets this corner with this corner at an angle. So you can see if we start adding features we know, we can connect up angled lines. So we have that angled line we can add. And we know that that surface is the same surface that comes off of this point. So we can take this line and copy it from this point to this point. Now it's not going to go all the way down. We know that. We're going to have to trim off some of that. But for now we just want the correct angle. And we also know that that surface, we're going to copy it again from the bottom to this corner. So that whole surface kind of angles at the same slope. So we have that correct angle. And again, we're going to have to trim off some of those lines. Alright, so let's do another line coming off the end of this little short guy. Oh, I didn't quite get that one. Let's do it again. And go past the angled line. Like that. And the same with the other little short guy here. Go past the angled line. Alright, now we can trim off parts that we don't need. So we're going to trim off this part, this part, this part, and this part, and that part. So now it's kind of looking more like the object. And now we can meet those two lines up. This corner to that corner. And that corner to that corner. So it's kind of like putting a puzzle together. You start with what you know, and then you fill in the rest. Alright, last thing we're going to do is turn the construction layer off and turn the grid off so that we can see our object. So there we go. So this is a two-dimensional picture that looks 3 dimensions, and it didn't take very long to construct.